A Seattle court ruling by Judge James Robert temporarily blocked President Trump's immigration ban nationwide on Friday. On Saturday, 7 major airlines announced that foreigners can board U.S. bound flights. Customs and Border Protection told airlines that it is reinstating visas. Homeland Security said that it was suspending any action from the executive order. This is a very broad, very sweeping ruling that this judge did. It's definitely a not necessarily unprecedented move, but a very shocking move. I mean, not necessarily shocking, I guess. Probably all saw something like this coming, but this banned. This definitely put a halt to the whole program, and airlines are now letting people board. Homeland Security said they won't do anything. The State Department's reinstating visas. The whole shebang. Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson brought the lawsuit forward, representing the state, saying the order was causing significant harm to residents and effectively mandates discrimination. In court, Washington Solicitor General Noah Purcell said the focus of the state's legal challenge was the way the president's order targeted Islam. The challenge in the Seattle court was brought by the state of Washington and was later joined by the state of Minnesota. The state's Attorney General, Bob Ferguson, said this decision shuts down the executive order right now. No one is above the law, not even the president. The actual text of the notice of appeal is right here. It is the state of Washington and the state of Minnesota plaintiffs v. Donald Trump in his official capacity as President of the United States, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, John F. Kelly in his official capacity as the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Rex W. Tillerson in his official capacity as Secretary of State, and the United States of America, defendants. Please take notice that the defendants Donald Trump in his official capacity as President of the United States, blah blah blah, and the United States of America hereby appeal to the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit from the February 3rd, 2017 order, enjoining and restraining enforcement of portions of the January 27th, 2017 executive order on protecting the nation from foreign terrorists' entry into the United States. Senator Schumer, good old Chucky Schumer, said that this ruling is a victory for the Constitution and for all of us who believe this un-American executive order will not make us safer. President Trump should heed this ruling, and he ought to back off and repeal the executive order once and for all. Senator Schumer also called the order mean-spirited and un-American. But in 2015, he supported a pause on Syrian refugees after the Paris attacks that left over 100 people dead. According to The Hill, Senator Charles Schumer, the third-ranking member of the Senate Democratic leadership, said it may be necessary to halt the resettlement of Syrian refugees in the United States. Republicans immediately seized on Schumer's comments, which breaks with other Democrats who have argued against halting the program. Schumer, however, declined to take the option off the table ahead of a special briefing scheduled for the process that is now used to vet refugees entering the United States. Quote, "We're waiting for the briefing tomorrow. A pause may be necessary. We're gonna look at it." He also tweeted in 2015, quote, "We must tighten loopholes in the visa waiver program, ensure passports cannot be faked, and stop terrorists who want to exploit the system." So when it's politically expedient for old Chucky Schumer, he's all about it, but now he's crying like a little baby about it. The ruling says the states have the right to sue and orders a halt on the immigration ban until the lawsuit is brought before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Roberts said the states, quote, "have met their burden of demonstrating that they face immediate and irreparable injury as a result of the signing and implementation of the executive order." Now let's take a little bit of a closer look at this Judge Roberts guy. James Lewis Robert is a United States federal judge in the United States District Court for the Western District of Washington. He was appointed in 2004 by the Bush administration. And usually he handles court cases in the Western District of Washington, not the entire country. But a federal judge does have the right to do this kind of thing. But let's look a little bit at his past a bit here. Um, he used the phrase "Black Lives Matter" in a federal case concerning police brutality by the Seattle Police Department. According to CNN, he told a court in August 2016, police shootings resulting in deaths involved 41% black people, despite being only 20% of the population living in those cities. 41% of the casualties, 20% of the population. Black Lives Matter. Now, this is clearly a political point of view, a political opinion that this guy has, and he's basically putting activism in front of being a judge. That's definitely not good. The Washington state judge used a case from Obama's presidency as precedent for the ruling. The case, United States v. Texas, number 15-674, concerning a 2014 executive action by the president to allow as many as 5 million unauthorized immigrants who were parents or citizens of lawful permanent residents to apply for a program that would spare them from deportation and provide them with work permits. The program was called Deferred Action for Parents of Americans and Lawful Permanent Residents, or DAPA. The case eventually went to the Supreme Court, where a split decision upheld the ruling. And that's important because if Antonin Scalia would have been the ninth member there, that probably would not have been a split decision. And what's going on right now is we still have a split court. So if this goes to the Supreme Court, which it very well might, it could be problematic. Obama said after this decision was made, quote, "If you keep on blocking judges from getting to the bench, then courts can't issue decisions. And what that means is you are going to have the status quo frozen, and we are not able to make progress on very important issues." Sorry, that was kind of a bad Obama. But progress, yeah. Yeah, he's all about progress, yeah. Cancer progresses, all right? Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, said, "Today's decision keeps in place what we have maintained from the very start. One person, even a president, cannot unilaterally change the law. This is a major setback to President Obama's attempts to expand executive power and a victory for those who believe in the separation of powers and the rule of law." And because it was a split decision, the case in the lower courts was upheld. So it was ruled that DAPA is illegal. And the roles are reversed this time around. That time it was the president overreaching his power. This time it's the judge and the states trying to overreach their power. Totally different situation. The White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said in a statement late Friday that the Department of Justice intends to halt the outrageous order at the earliest possible time. And here's the actual release, the statement from the White House Office of the Press Secretary for immediate release, February 3rd, 2017. Statement by the Press Secretary. "At the earliest possible time, the Department of Justice intends to file an emergency stay of this outrageous order and defend the executive order of the President, which we believe is lawful and appropriate. The President's order is intended to protect the homeland, and he has the constitutional authority and responsibility to protect the American people. As the law states, quite clearly, quote, whenever the President finds that the entry of any aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may by proclamation and for such period as he shall deem necessary suspend the entry of all aliens or any class of aliens as immigrants or non-immigrants, or impose the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem appropriate." It's pretty clear. It really is. So what's going on here is this order is completely out of line, and it really just, it's a total overreach, and all this is doing is putting a temporary block on this. It's a small window for people to be able to come in now, but really this is just causing way more confusion and way more trouble than it needs to. The emergency stay that the White House asked for, the Justice Department asked for, was denied by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The court has asked for both sides to file legal briefs before the court makes a decision, according to WGN-TV. When our country is no longer able to say who can and who cannot come in and out, especially for reasons of safety and security, big trouble. That was a quote from Donald Trump on Saturday. He went on quite a Twitter frenzy rampage after this happened. I'm sure we all saw that one coming though. And when asked about the appeal at a gala in Florida on Saturday, President Trump said, "We'll win for the sake of the country. We'll win." And like I said, this move is definitely out of line in my view. It's definitely out of line. The Washington Attorney General, Bob Ferguson, told CNN on Friday night that he expects the case to move quickly through the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals because of the magnitude of the executive order. Ferguson said he was prepared for the case to go all the way to the Supreme Court, depending on which way the Court of Appeals jured, which way the Court of Appeals ruled. Now, there were, in my view, problems with what happened. Like, the way it was rolled out, agencies weren't told ahead of time what was going on. There was a little bit of confusion and hysteria, and there were people who had green cards who were being detained and got caught in the mix, and that was wrong, and they corrected that. And I mean, you know, there's problems. I mean, there's people that were stranded overseas who are totally innocent, and yes, a lot of that sucks. It really does. But it's not illegal what he's done, and I don't think it's going to be able to be defended in court. I really don't. And honestly, this is just like what the former acting Attorney General Sally Yates was doing when she tried to say that the Justice Department couldn't even defend it in court, the executive order that Trump signed. And you can see how that went for her. Not too well. And in my view, this was just another example of judicial activism, as someone using their position, you know, as a judge to basically be an activist. And that's not what the judicial department's about. I mean, that's not what being part of that branch of government's about. It's about being impartial. I have another video that I did about the immigration ban and the precedent for it. Is it unprecedented? Is it legal? All these other things. Of course it is, and of course it's not. I mean, it is. You know, there's precedent for it. It's totally legal. I explain all this in my other video, so I encourage you to check that out if you have other questions about the immigration ban itself. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will subscribe. I will have more videos coming out in the future. Hopefully I can get some better production quality. I want to get an actual camera soon, not just my iPhone. And I'd like to start editing stuff a little bit. But yeah, definitely there will be more content to come. Hope you leave a comment, maybe leave a like, and may the force be with you.